Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, Instagram, all those places that all this is going to be going live. Welcome to my own show. 30 minutes late, huh? When you're sleeping decently, that kind of happens every now and again. I guess I was sleeping decently. I don't know. So much happened yesterday, it's not even funny. Like the title says, when it rains, it pours. And boy, did it pour yesterday. And not in a rainy type of way. Although rain would have been so much better. So, welcome to the show. I am Monty Anderson, your host at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And we've got a lot to talk about. From, just like we normally do, comic books, movies, my comic works, my artwork, my comic books, life in general, and all things in between. What are the two things we do not talk about here on my show? Those of you that are normally here know what two things I do not talk about on my show. And those are religion and politics. Those are the two things we do not talk about because whenever we do, people lose their damn minds. And it ain't cool. So we avoid those two subjects on a regular basis and we talk about fun stuff like new movies coming out, horror movies, comic book movies. Um, if you like dramas, those are good too. If you like a ton of action, those are awesome. All the genres of movies out there. We talk comic books from the earliest of comic books to the most recent of comic books to indie comic books. Good morning, Mr. Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. Thanks for the likes out there. Um, keep them coming, keep them coming. We love the likes. It helps boost us out there. And here it is, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:03 to be exact. Drinking my V8 energy juice so that I can have energy for the rest of the day. Because once this show ends, it'll be almost time to start feeding, but I'll be doing some artwork to finish up one piece of artwork out of the two pieces that I'm working on right now. And it would be so much more quicker if my program was working. Piece of popcorn kernel from last night. Now, what I'm talking about is I use Adobe Illustrator, but I use the old stuff that you actually have the physical disc for. See, look at that physical disc. I don't have to download it from the interweb. Right there, all the good stuff right there. But for some reason, it is not working anymore on my computer. It crashes every time I try to save something or try to print something or even try to open something. So it's like I'm assuming that it's the driver for the graphics card that's jacked up, even though it's updated. And that's one of the things you're supposed to do is keep things updated. And for some reason, it ain't working. It ain't working. And I don't like it. So I'm having to do everything by hand. And it kind of sucks because if somebody wants some changes done on some logos that I've got for them, which there is one person, I'm not going to be able to do it until I get this figured out. And because I can't like just dump it into another program because Adobe Illustrator is specific to itself. Now, I could take the JPEGs and move them into another program, wipe out the section that has their address and stuff like that, and redo it in there. But it's definitely not even going to look the same. So it's a catch-22 right now. It sucks. But I'll get it figured out. I've got an IT guy that I can probably talk to and be like, hey, dude, look, what's up with this? All my graphics are up to date. Everything like that is good to go. But it's still crashing. When I do this, when I do this, when I do this. Three different things that I do, it crashes on. Now, I can drag and drop artwork into it all day long, but when it comes to just like I said, the control prompts, or even from the menu screen where it pulls down from the file and all that stuff, you can't, it won't let you. I said it can't. It won't let you because it just automatically freezes and then it dies, basically. But if you would, if you like, share, and follow, those of you that are sticking around right here, right now, that would be awesome. You can also go up to my profile page, and from there you can get all of the info right there in my website. You'll find the link there to my website, and you can follow my other socials, which is my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, and you're already here. Those of you that are down here, right here, not up here, are already here on TikTok. I do have an OF as well. That's where more of my not safe for work artwork goes. And I have not set it up yet. It is just sitting there. Because, yes, folks, I do have not safe for artwork. Artwork with, you know, um, scenes of adultness by superheroes. So, that's some. It's not the stuff I do all the time. It's just stuff that I do periodically. I do have 3 comic book covers. Is it just 3? Bum, bum, bum. I'm trying to think. 4. 4 comic book covers. I got a Vampirella with showing her bling on her rings, on her belly button ring, and some other 2 rings if you get my meaning. And then I've got Aka Chan from Street Fighter covering herself, and then in barely their bikini type of a thing. And then I've got a House of Slaughter with a female on it that has been mutilated. And then I've got a Valiant comic, Faith, and she is also partially covering herself, like by doing this type of a number with her hand in her hair or something like that. But anyway, I don't have a lot of it. I do have a portfolio start, and I think it's got maybe 6 pieces in it, plus those 4 covers right there. Um, but that's why I did an OF, because it's things that I can't show on Facebook, on TikTok, things like that, because I got restricted for showing that cover of Aka Chan of the Street Fighters, and it actually I had to appeal that decision that they made, um, and I actually won that appeal, but it still restricted me for a little bit. Just like certain keywords that you say on the show get you, um, what's the word I'm trying to think of? My brain ain't braining right now. It gets you a restriction, and this little pop up, and it goes right here, right there. You guys can't see it, but I can. It's not happening right now, but it has happened a few times in the past where it shows you are restricted from, you know, certain audiences. Well, that's probably the audiences that need to see what I'm talking about whenever I'm talking about a certain topic. A preventative measure to keep you above dirt, if you will. And that's why I have the number right here for you guys on Facebook and YouTube, because right here I can print that up all day long. Now over here, I can't say certain keywords for whatever reason without it having a restriction on it, which is stupid, 100%. And because, like I said, that's probably the person that actually needs to hear it, what I'm talking about. But I appreciate everybody joining, checking out the show. Again, we talk about everything here on 412 Productions, from comic books to artwork, my artwork, to you name it, we have it here. We do a piece with Mr. Ben Dunn, who is the one of the creators of Antarctic Press, and he has graciously allowed us to be one of the initiative people to promote his books, Antarctic Press books, from everything from Gold Digger to Goblin 522 to Tomorrow Girl, um, to Ninja High School, The Road to 200. We just previewed last week, or well, today's the 14th. So on the 12th, Saturday, we did we did one long show with 5 different books. Um, we had Ninja High School 197 and 198, and we also had Erica Chan, um, the 2 parts that they've got so far that are in Ninja High School 197, 198. And then a standalone one-shot book that Antarctic Press did by a artiste, war comic book by Motofumi Kobayashi, Goblin 522. It's about a jet fighter, American jet fighter, who gets caught behind enemy lines in Vietnam, by the Viet Cong. So that one was a pretty interesting book. I love the artwork style in it. So, but you should check it out. These are books that'll be coming out. One book will be coming out in March. That's Ninja High School 198, because 197 came out in October of 2024. So it just shows how much he's doing on a regular basis, folks. He has so many titles and books that he's working on a regular basis that it's not even funny. So there's obviously something out there that you would love to check out from Antarctic Press, and that's something to go check out. Okay. Now the real life. So I was outside yesterday. Um, Came out the side door, which is basically the front door for us here at my house. Even though I do have a front door, I have a side door too that goes to the driveway. And I went out there, was doing something. I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but the wind had just picked up. And next thing I know, I see this limb fall. And what's under that limb? My car. It hasn't run. I mean, it runs, but it hasn't ran in a while. It's been parked in that same spot for a year now. Right through the windshield goes this massive trunk of the tree branch. Comes down so hard with so much force, it bent over my gear shifter. It took out some of my radio, and then it hit the gear shifter and bent it straight over. That's a pretty solid piece of metal that it bent in half. I'm trying to find something that is similar to it right here. But the piece of metal that's in the gear shifter on the Hyundai 2008 Hyundai is about that big around. And it's a solid piece of metal. This thing came down with so much force that it drove the head of the gear shifter piece down, and at the same time, after it dropped it down, it bent this piece of metal straight over. So now I have a side gear shifter right there. But then it's like, well, it probably screwed up a lot of other things down inside there, because that is a sensitive piece of material right there, because that's what shifts your car into gear, drive, reverse, neutral, all that good stuff. So yeah, even though I was going to fix it up and sell it, um, I think it's just going to be best to scrap it and go on. So get everything out of it that's just still in there, and yeah, take it to the scrap yard or take it to one of the salvage yards and have them buy it off of me. See what either one will give for me. So yeah, that's no fun. Because like I said, I was going to fix her back up, get her to where she was running optimal. At least whenever you pushed on the gas, it didn't chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it. But yeah, when it rains, it pours, kind of. It's life. Life sucks sometimes. You know, there's nothing you can do about it sometimes. That was just like an act of God right there. dropped it right through the windshield, and boom, took out not only the windshield, but the gear shifter at the same time, plus a portion of the radio. It knocked off all the push dials off the top, and it was just like, you've got to be kidding me right now. You have got to fucking be kidding me right now. But nah, it's neither here nor there. I mean, at least it wasn't the girlfriend's car, or at least it wasn't the truck that we're trying to get the title back on. You know, the bonded title that's been going on 6 months. November 6th is whenever I started trying to get the bonded title for my truck. And here it is, April the 14th. So you do the math. November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 6 whole months right now that I've been waiting to get a bonded title back because they can't get their act straight or together to tell you what you totally need to send in for the bonded title, which is all the originals. Their website does not tell you that. And then when the representative calls you, she doesn't tell you that either. And you have a rigmarole with her for a bunch of times. 4 different phone calls. Finally, I haven't got a phone call from her since I've sent in the last piece of information. So, it is what it is. You move on with life, and you hopefully get that bonded title soon. Oh man, what a day! What a day! Today will be a lot of artwork, and then it will be a lot of, this is my horse hairbrush for my artwork, and then it's going to be a lot of gardening, burning off some more wood, as long as the wind isn't blowing 90 to nothing like it did for a short bit yesterday. But I had most of my stuff burned off at that point in time anyway. And I got a pickup bed full of stuff, including my main post. It's going to be the last piece to my chicken run area. I scraped up all the last of the debris and old roofing material and stuff like that. Got rid of all that. So going to be a great little area for the chickens, and then the little spot where their coop is going to be great. We're going to concrete that in, and I hope I don't need as many bags as they say I do, but they basically said at a 12 by 12 spot I would need 80 bags of concrete for a 4-inch slab. That's a lot of money. 80 bags of concrete. And that's 80-pound bags of concrete, folks. That's not just your typical 40-pound or 60-pound bag. That's your 80-pound bags of concrete. And I hope so, Roy. Because there's only a couple of other ways things could go if it doesn't get better today. and both of the other ways ain't good. But I appreciate your optimism. I just look at it as another life learning lesson. Don't park your car under trees. And I knew that growing up, but it's just like, well, nothing's happened on my side of the fence as far as some limbs coming down. Go figure. So today I'll be moving a bunch of pallets to the back. I've got 9 pallets, and 8 of those are going to go to the back. One of them is going to become my gate up front to get rid of a piece of shit looking thing that I've had built up there just to keep the animals in. But today, or sometime, we're going to be putting one over there for that. The rest are going to the back. I'm taking out the back section of pallets that I've already put up, and I'm going to put these new pallets up because they're a lot tighter, a lot cleaner looking. And then I've got to seal them off. I've got to get some water sealer. Excuse me. And then I'll end up painting them eventually, or staining them a dark color, one or the other. Or maybe I'll just get some dark stain that's a water sealer at the same time, and put it in a pump sprayer and spray it down and get it all taken care of all at once. Because that is the bad thing about pallets, is that they tend to deteriorate over time. Now, not all of them, because they do make some better built, and they put like a pesticide inside of them as well in their dip whenever they do spray them or dip them or whatever they do to them, that seals them up. But they do make some pallets that do not corrode over time. And I mean, it does take a long time for them to corrode, but they will corrode. So I am working on, like I said, two different logos over here. A friend of mine, Jesse, which I need to tag him in my military post, had a military reunion this past weekend. That was a lot of emotions, a lot of good times had, seeing everybody again from the old unit. And we do that every year, but I've had to miss for some reason or another. I almost had to miss this one because of a situation that happened. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. And and so this time I was able to make it. We did some things that we were able to make it, and it was a good time. Getting to see everybody, talking to everybody, and just getting to reminisce over what happened over there, what happened when we came back, all the different things, and like I said, it's an emotional time because these are people you almost died with in Afghanistan, and for those of you that have never been in the military or never been deployed to another country or those type of things, the bond grows super tight. Even if you don't talk to these people, on a regular basis, whenever you get back together, it's just like you never parted ways. And so that's what happened this weekend. We were there we got there a little after 12, and we didn't leave until almost 4 o'clock. Now a lot of other people already left by that point in time because they had other obligations to go to and things like that. But um, Gene, thanks for the likes out there, much appreciated. And so some of us sat around and talked for a while. The girlfriend and I and one of the other members, Ross Henry, we were talking about motorcycles because he's an avid rider. And then there was some others that we were sitting there talking after they came over and started talking. We just started talking about all the different people that you know that we could remember, that we never didn't see at the units, and what they're possibly doing today, and we don't really know, but because we don't keep up with everybody. There were certain people in your unit that you didn't like, then that happens, and I'm sure there was a lot of people that didn't like me, but I was one of those people that usually didn't get messed on, messed with, um, at 6'2", 240 pounds, you know. At the time, bench pressing in Afghanistan 300 pounds, I can't do that anymore. Um, all those good things, but it was fun. It was a great experience to be back to again. I'd been to one a long time ago, but then a lot of life circumstances happened, um, and you just didn't make it. You just couldn't get there. Like last year, 2024, it was a comic book convention was in conflict, so I was at the comic book convention instead of the reunion. But we made it happen this year. It was a good time, and look forward to the next one, which we're trying to do a lot more because we've had some fallen heroes, um, you know, that have happened, life circumstances, they've passed away, and we're wanting to do something for our fallen and do something a little bit more substantial. Um, and so I'll be trying to help out with that as much as possible. I have to get with Johnny P and see what he wants to do in that endeavor. But I know he's doing a guide on and some other things. We're going to have some flags next year and things of that nature. So look forward to it, as long as it doesn't conflict with one of my uh, comic book conventions that I should be going back to at that point in time. But we'll see. Just because there's a lot of life happening right now. And, this is my revamp year. And I haven't even revamped really 100% except for the logo. And which means that I still have to get my prints ready. I still have to get my canvas prints ready, and then I'm still trying to get a big section of my comic book so I can release a portion of it to the world, even if it's in an ash can format, which means a home printed version of your comic book. Um, that's a preview of what's to come. And none of that's coming together right now, which sucks. You just stayed on there, which does suck because I was hoping to have be 4 months in right now and have a little bit better inkling of something, something substantial to show. I mean, I'm 18 pages in on my own comic book, and that's where I'm sitting. Since I'm the writer, I'm the artist, I'm the inker, and I'll find somebody to publish. I won't publish it here at my house. I don't have the equipment for that. So, and then I've got to find my artist that I want to work on the covers with me, because I'll have my main cover, and then I'll have 3 variant covers thereafter. And I'm already supposed to be painting on one of mine, and it ain't happening yet. You know, go figure. And because I'm working on other projects, I'm working on 2 logos for one person right now. Just got finished up with 2 pictures for this mental health awareness, and I hope I don't get restricted for that. On the 19th, which I'm meeting her, Chelsea, today to hand off the artwork, because it'll be hit or miss if I'm going to be able to make it for the 19th, which is Saturday. But we'll see. Because I told her I wouldn't be there, but there's a possibility that we could make it. And if that's the case, then we'll show up and enjoy the party like everybody else. It is for a great cause, and that's why I decided to go ahead and donate 2 pieces to it. Anger and Chaos. And it's just one of those things that, since I deal with it as well, with PTSD and all that good stuff, you have to help out where you can, because you do know people struggle with it on a regular basis, and that's part of why I don't sleep at night. Normally I would have been on closer to 4:30 today, but as you saw, I came on at 5, a little after 5, because we are now at 5:29, and we are 28 minutes in, so to the show. And I go see my therapist for that through the VA, and they give me lots of pills for depression and anxiety and sleepless nights and things of that nature. And and so it's just one of those things. And had it not been so windy this weekend, I would have set up for an art show there at the reunion. But I did not, because it would have blown my stuff all over the place. And I decided it was best just to let the camaraderie happen and not try to sell anything at the show, at the reunion. So now, had it not been so windy, I probably would have set up everything, set it out there, and been like, "Hey, go check out the stuff." Um, did meet an author that we're gonna check out her work. She's married to a friend of mine, Alan, and so we're gonna check out her work, and she's also willing to put some of my books into her website, which is very cool. And we'll see what happens on that endeavor. So I've got a publisher as far as peddling my books out there, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes, because I know it is hard for an independent comic book to get into like diamond distribution and things of that nature. So you've got to know the right people to get your stuff presented to the world, if you will. And that's what I'm hoping happens with this book is that we get to the point where we're able to get it picked up by certain entities, if you will. And if we can get them picked up by certain entities, then it'll be easier for that book to move into the world. Thank you for the likes there, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. Yeah, Roy. Let's see here. The next time I go live, we'll be doing dinner that night, huh? Yes, Roy lives in the same area that I do. We've known each other for a while now, and he and us will be doing dinner. We'll be doing some dinner this Wednesday. So it'll be fun. It's always fun when we get together and we take him around town a little bit, get him out of the nursing home, those type of things. I'm kidding you, Roy. You don't live in a nursing home. It's an assisted living home. I get it. Love you, buddy. Love you, buddy. But no, I am looking forward to getting my book out there and presented to the world. Just because it's a long time coming. Back in the '90s, which some of you weren't even alive then, that are dropping in on the show and watching it. Back in the '90s, I did a little anthology comic book, which had some of my stuff that I was going to present to the world and be this massive comic book artist. And my stuff sucked. Okay, back then my stuff really sucked. I've got some originals back there from back in the day, and I've even got my books in a drawer back here. And you know, I had other artists come into this anthology series, and if they provided something to the book, they got comps, those type things. And so it's just one of those things that I had aspirations and goals back then, but it was just life, life always gets in the way, you know. And not having that silver spoon in your mouth and handed to you, uh, money handed to you. Let's put it that way. Um, Raising a family, you know, that meant you never had any money, especially the jobs that I worked. Um, Basically paying minimum wage and stuff like that. Uh, and so you never had money to do things with. It was always feeding the family or getting diapers or school supplies or this, that, or the other. And so money was very scarce. And, it is still today, but not as bad. Uh, and so you look for ways to try and better yourself, is what you do. And I don't even know where I was going with that point. It lost my head. So yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that point, folks. Um, do you know what I was talking about, Roy? Probably not. I don't even know what I was talking about. So, but yeah, no, it's oh, it was the comic book stuff. There we go. Woo! Circle it back around. Circle the wagons back around. Um, so back in the '90s, I had that anthology series, and then I started working up all these different character aspects, all these different groups that I was going to create and do comic books for, and have battling it out, and all kinds of different things like that. I got to move this for a second, folks. Yeah, it's still flipping up there. And so I've got all this original artwork sitting back here, and it's just like, why didn't I ever do anything with them? And my artwork style has changed so much that now it's like, okay, so I started working on a comic book back in probably the late '90s, early 2000s, and still some of you are probably never born yet. And I kind of just stopped. I just kind of stopped doing it altogether. Um, and then whenever I got remarried in 2010, a year after getting a divorce, so I was married up until 2009, a little right in that area, and then dated a girl for roughly a year after that. After my first ex-wife asked me for a divorce and got re-engaged before the divorce papers were even filed. Make that make sense. And then got remarried in July of 2010. Got divorced from her, but the first 5, almost 6 years of that marriage, I didn't touch artwork. Period. Just because she planted the bug in my ear that it wasn't good enough, that it wouldn't bring in money for the household to sustain us, blah 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 blah. And so I, put down the pen, the paintbrush, all that good stuff, and just lived life miserably, if you will. I mean, there was fun to be had, but I wasn't fulfilling my dream, my goals, my aspirations. And so it was painful. Um, and if you know you're supposed to be doing something else, but you don't do what you know you're supposed to be doing, there's just a pain that's undescribable, a misery that doesn't love company, if you will. And so it's just like I lived in pain, you know, but I didn't put two and two together for a long time, because once I picked up my pen and paper again and my paintbrush and all that good stuff and started working on my artwork again, which was 2016, because I started going to back to comic book or going to comic book conventions as a artist, not just going to go as a convention goer, was in 2017. So as soon as I picked up my paper, my pen, my paintbrush, all that good stuff, boom, I was into comic book conventions, just like that. And um, and life was exciting again. Life was fun again. Life was worth living again. Not that I wanted to check out, not by any means. It was just that there was a dull, aching pain that now was let out because I was talking to my people. You know, the people that wanted to buy my artwork, the people that wanted to commission me to do artwork. Now, I was doing a few things in 2016 after I picked up my pen and paper again, for, you know, the church going people that were basically supporting the ex wife and not supporting me. But they knew that I could get done what they needed. So they would talk to her and then talk to me, and artwork would happen. And those are some of the same people that said, hey, we'll support you no matter what, no matter when, and we'll still buy stuff from you. Has any of them bought any from me since the divorce? Not a single one. Has any of them talked to me since the divorce? Not a single one. So that's some good friends, huh? But it is what it is. Now I can laugh at it because I knew what they were supporting. They were supporting the household. They weren't supporting me when it came down to it, and that's okay. I mean, because the household needed substance, needed that in there, needed the money, the finances, and things like that in there. But just say that, you know. Don't be a how can I even phrase it? Don't be a dick and say that you're going to support me no matter what, but then you never talk to me, and you were only supporting me because of the household, you know. And yes, it was messed up, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. And but it's life, and that's happened to me twice through two different divorces. I've only the only people that actually talk to me are the people that actually don't go to that church anymore, or either of those churches anymore, or barely went to those churches. So, but even one of those peoples um, was supposedly going to help me by letting me stay at their house. And when it came down to, hey, I really need to get out of this hotel room because I'm out of money, because I've been in a hotel room for almost 4 months. And then they're like, "Oh no, we're getting ready to renovate that room, and so we don't, it's not going to be ready for you, and all that good stuff." And it's not because you're getting a divorce and you're separated and all that good stuff. And it's just like, keep telling yourself that, you know. I know why you're not letting me stay at your house right now, so it's all good. And so is what it is. I survived. I got into this house, and it's just been one thing after another in this house. And then just like yesterday, the uh, the big branch that went through the windshield and folded over the 1 inch thick steel uh, gear shifter, as how much force came down on it. But it is what it is, and you roll with it. You roll with the punches, and you take those gut punches that life throws at you from time to time. But no, these two logos that I'm working on are for a brand that a friend of mine has, and they're turning out pretty cool. He is a religious guy, and I have nothing against anybody that is religious, because I used to. For those of you that don't know, I used to be a pastor for a year. I had a pastor's license for a year, and just never did anything with it. Um, I mean, in that year's time, I could have married people and things of that nature through the church I was going to. But you know, after you've been shunned by the church, by its people for a long time, you hello, Audra Hepburn, welcome to the show. Once you've been shunned by people from the church for a long time, you tend to stop. You tend to stop going. You know, and I know that doesn't that's not indicative of everybody that's in the church, but you know, that's just, once you've been burned one too many times, you just be like, hey, I can get my stuff elsewhere, and you look for it elsewhere. So, and you find it, because as I talked to all the people that do go to church and things like that, I said, where was Jesus the most? He wasn't in church. Now was he? And a lot of people think Jesus was just a good dude, another person out there that people, you know, attached a title to, and didn't really exist. And you can believe what you want to believe. It's your choice. That's what the great thing about having your own opinion is. Just like, some people think Buddha is it, and all that good stuff. And the only reason I'm talking about religion is because of talking about the people that shunned me after divorces. And that's a topic I normally don't talk about, is religion and politics. So we'll sidestep that. Move off of that. We'll go to a different place. For those of you just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm Monty Anderson with 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And we were talking about earlier the giant branch that came through my windshield of my car. It doesn't run, it's not insured, uh, because it has some issues under the hood somewhere. And it took a nice little branch through the windshield. And just like our Razorbacks are the best team in college, yeah, whatever. Your Razorbacks have not won a championship since when? They're not mine. They're yours. So cheers to your team. Hopefully they do something next year. Hopefully they make some right decisions one of these days. And end up doing something out there in the world instead of getting arrested and thrown in jail. But no, the life hits you in so many different ways that you've got to figure out which punches you're rolling with. And it doesn't help sometimes that you don't have that silver spoon or that golden spoon, that mommy and daddy's money, you know. But I am looking for sponsors. If you're a millionaire out there, or even if make $700,000-800,000 a year, and you're not quite a millionaire, but you're close. You can help sponsor this show. You can help sponsor my booth rentals and things like that at the comic book conventions. Help offset the cost. But I seriously am looking for sponsors because your business name, your business logo, all that stuff will be incorporated with everything that you help sponsor. And which means that if you want to help sponsor the comic book, your business name, your logo, all that stuff will be in there, uh, in a credit page, just like on my table covers that I'm going to get made up. Your name would be on that table cover. You would be on any banners that I had, those type things. And we're not going to make you look bad, because if if I'm making you look bad, that means I'm making me look bad. That's why a whole name change. That's why I revamped my entire business, was because I didn't want any, if there was any negative connotations on my old business, to carry forward anymore. And, you know, and as soon as I dropped the other logo and dropped the other business name, I started getting like sales like crazy right off the bat. It's been a little slow. Yes, I can't lie. But, you know, um, but we've had a steady stream of work, 100%, and which is awesome. Which is so much steady work that I can't even get on my own projects. And that's a good problem to have. And I want more of that problem. I want so much work coming in that I can't focus on my own stuff right now. Even though I want to focus on my own stuff. And I know that, there's 24 hours in a day, all that good stuff. But I devote the morning section to my artwork up until a certain time, which is basically about 1 o'clock ish. And then from 1 o'clock until dark, I devote to the homestead. Yes, I've got chickens, I've got pigs, I've got ducks, and I am working on the garden as we speak. Not like right this second, but it is actually working out there, with the ash and the other compost that I'm working on moving back there. Now, so from whatever time I wake up, which is usually anywhere between 2 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock a.m., I'll come into the office where we are right now, and I will start artwork. I will go feed, or now it's just basically go check the baby chicks and make sure they've got water and food, and then let the other chickens out to roam the yard, to free range. And then the pig has been up at least two different times by this point in time. She'll be up here in about 10 minutes or so, because she likes to get up before 6 o'clock. She used to get up right around 6 o'clock, but now it's closer to 6, or now it's before 6. Sorry. So we'll see if she stays in bed. From there, about 7:15, 7:30, somewhere in that range, I go let the chickens out. Then I come back into the office, do some more artwork, and then the girlfriend's coming home for lunch anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock, somewhere in that range. Then from there, I'll have lunch with her for the hour, and then I'll come back in here, do more artwork until she usually gets home about 1. And then about 1 o'clock, that's when I go outside and start working on the outdoor stuff, for the homestead. So that's how life goes on an almost daily basis. So I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, um, spinning my wheels, if you will, doing things like that. I'm constantly busy, and that's where it gets a lot of people in the end is whenever they aren't doing anything fulfilling when they get home and or they retire. Most of the time, you hear about those people that have retired at 70 something years old, 80 something years old because they couldn't retire any earlier. And after they get home, they sit around, watch TV, read the newspaper. They aren't as active as they were. And then within 6 months, you're reading their obituary. Well, luckily for me, 2023, October 26th, 2023, when I handed in my letter of resignation, I'm not dead yet. Because why? I'm not bored. I'm not just sitting around in my lounge chair. I'm not just sitting around on the couch. I'm not just, doing this, that, or the other. There are days that's warranted, that I need it, that I need to do that. But I don't most of the time. You can ask the girlfriend if she's still on here. I don't know if she is or not. That I can't just sit around, if you will. I know that's detrimental to my own health, especially after having two heart attacks, 2017, 2019, both main arteries going into the heart. First one was the Widowmaker back in 2017. And then 2019 was the second one while I was walking around work. And, you know, they didn't feel like your typical heart attacks that everybody portrays on TV or you read about, you know. So I didn't have those sharp pains and things like that. The only time I had that sharp pain was when I was in Afghanistan and coming off a mission. And all of a sudden I had sharp pains in my chest. I shortness of breath, couldn't breathe, and I had to get another guy that was in there to go find somebody to help take me to the infirmary. You know, but that's the only time, and I still think it was a heart attack, but they just said it was a pulled chest muscle because even the foreign doctor, I think it was a British hospital that I was at, or a German hospital or something. I can't remember which one it was at. They're like, your heart's strong as bull. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I believed them. They just chalked it up to a pulled chest muscle. You lost signal. I'm not lagging. I'm great here. All my stuff's green. You must be lagging. See, you lost signal. I haven't lost any signal over here, Roy. I don't know what you're talking about. Even up here on my Facebook section, it's actually running pretty smooth. So you're laggy, dude. You got to get off your neighbor's Wi-Fi. You stalker. I, I'm great. Everything's still running smooth here, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Twilight Jr. Get it together, man. Get it together. If I am lagging, if anybody else is seeing that I'm lagging, please let us know. Um, because right now I'm running pretty smooth on both platforms, on TikTok and up here on Facebook. Because yes, I am live in two different places at this present juncture. I actually need to get another screen in here. Uh, we good? Not see, it was your end. Who knows? It could have been a sun flare. Since the sun's not even up yet. That's blocking a satellite. All that good stuff. But no, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr., I appreciate you informing me of things like that. Um, but yeah, no, rebuilding everything takes time. And I'm just kind of happy that as soon as I relaunched my business as 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson, that things went super well with it. That it was received really well. A lot of people thought I was getting out of artwork, including my mother. It scared her a little bit. Um, and, it's just one of those things that artwork is a part of me. It is integrated into my bloodstream. And it is one of those things that will die with me. Um, Whenever I get off of this, however you want to put it, if you call the world a ball or if you call it a flat piece of paper, that's your choice. Whenever I I get off this earth ball flatness thing, whatever you want to call it, um, my artwork just died with me. You know, my daughters have some talent as well. They're both writers and little artists of their own. Um, Even though they don't talk to me no more, uh, they're adults. They can do what they want. They believe the truths that the ex-wife said. Uh, your connection is bad. I told you. I told you it wasn't my side, man. I told you it wasn't my side. But it's neither here nor there. They're adults. They can believe what they want to believe, and they just haven't asked me my side of the divorce. And yeah, and that's okay. They will have a letter waiting for them. Either I will send it to them, or they'll get it upon my death, one or the other, that explain my side of the story. You at this point in time, I don't see a lot of people coming to my funeral, whenever that is down the road. You know, could be 20 years from now, could be 40 years from now, could be 110 years from now. Who knows? I mean, I hear people that are living up to 210 years old. So, you know, it's crazy. If you know, you know. Just let it go, folks. Just let it go. Methuselah is one of the oldest living humans on record, 900 and some odd years old. Now, I do have a lot of artwork for sale, so if you are interested, hit me up in a DM and ask me what I've got. I've got three portfolios, technically four portfolios started, three portfolios full of artwork with comic book covers and things like that, blank comic book covers, and then a lot of 11 by 15s and 9 by 12s sections in there. And then I've also got some cool stuff like my Art the Clown on a base that's on a metal saw blade, and Billy the Puppet on a saw blade as well. Go figure, from Saw. And I'm going to have some more later on as I work the year with them. And then um, let's see, I've got a lot of paintings that are ready to be in your house and away from mine. Everything from Dexter to a Batman Beetlejuice compilation side by side, glow in the dark, black light type of situation. The Joker, the Dexter painting, the Chester Bennington painting, the Venom painting, those type things. I got all kinds of stuff here. And if you want something custom, hit me up. I can do that too. And I do look forward to getting back into the comic book conventions, because this year is going to kill me as far as not being at the conventions and things like that. But that's okay. That's what a rebuild year is about. It's about uh, getting back into things and revamping things enough to. Thank you for the likes out there. I appreciate that. I love you too, buddy. Love you too. But yeah, it's all about the rebuilding and reconnecting with your fans, with new products and new things to present to people, so that you know, so that things are exciting whenever they come to your booth, so that they're not just so stale. I've also even thought about, doing a slideshow of artwork on a tablet, so that people can flip through it and look at the pictures there and be like, "Ooh, I want this one. Ooh, I want this one." Those type things. But then it's like, then it takes the fun out of them looking at a board behind you that's got all your artwork lined out behind you. And I'm gonna pare down. I had way too many prints last year and the year before, because I made a print out of everything, and not everything sold, and so that was just a waste of time and money in reality. Because if you got stuff that never sells, why you even have it? Why do you even bring it? So I'm going to be pairing and making things smaller, with my choices, have 20 pieces instead of 75, and that also means that's only going to be a limited amount of canvas prints as well, in like two different sizes, and they're not going to be small sizes, you know, but they'll still be cheaper, a lot cheaper than the artwork, the original artwork itself. Because like my Joker painting sells for 500, and you could get that same Joker painting in a canvas print for say 150 to 200 bucks. You know, 500 or 200, your choice. And yes, the original is going to be a lot better because it's the original, and it's always better. But some people, would rather have the print over the original. It's a money thing, and I get it. Um, but me, I try to get the original anywhere I can. You know, so but that's just me. I want the original. I don't want a copy of it unless that's the only thing I can get, and then that's what I'll find. I'll get the copy. So, but I do appreciate each and every one of you being here for the show. I know we came on a little bit later than normal, just because I think I got a little bit more sleep last night. I know my machine, the CPAP machine that the military gave me, the VA gave me, not the military, but well, it was caused by the military. Said I only got 3 hours and some odd usage on the machine, but I did fall back to sleep after I took the machine off for about an hour and a half or so. So I got about 4.5 hours of sleep last night, which is pretty good for me. Oh, because there's some nights that I only get about an hour and a half. So, and there's been some nights that I've gotten close to 8 hours of sleep, but those are very rare. Those are very rare and far between. So, so I look forward to those nights where I get to sleep for a full 8 hours and watch the sunrise through my window. Not really, because the sunrise is in the east and our window faces the west. So I don't get to watch the sunrise from my window. I can if I'm outside working in the yard or, those type of things. I do get to see the pretty colors from my west side window of my office in between the firewood, ready for next year. Um, or this winter, not next year, but this winter. But yeah, no, I get to see the pretty colors in the sky when the sun's coming up. And that is if it's got a pretty color sky. Sometimes it's just a regular purples and blacks and light blues and stuff like that. It's just like, that's not so good. I like it when it has the oranges and the pinks and things like that. The the Thomas Kincaid painting look out my window. You guys are great. But that's where I'm going to leave you. You guys have a great day. And as I like to say as I leave you for my show, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.